from the north end to the south end of the city, and then go on the beach and do the same thing.
Instead of 2 or 3. Yeah, yeah, you just, yeah, I'll take them all.
Put your emails.
All right.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the July 10th BZA meeting for North Myrtle Beach. I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and if we could get a roll call, please.
Chairman McGonigal,
Here?
Andy Thomas,
Present.
Mendel Bell,
Here.
Joe Reeves,
Here.
Cynthia Lover, Wyman Wise, Melissa Wober.
Here.
You have quorum.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda, we'll move to the communications. Mr. Caldwell?
Yes, if you see BZA 2522, application by Jonathan Reynolds for a variance to remove a protected tree at 914 Perrin Drive. The board wanted staff to measure that tree before this meeting. We did, and we measured 23 inches, so it never needed to come to you in the first place.
Okay.
He's going to be either paying into the tree bank or replanting 11 and a half inches of trees on the property.
Okay, good deal. Right, anything else?
No, sir.
Great, thank you. Okay, if we can go ahead and get, if you're planning on speaking today, if we get everybody sworn in.
Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the evidence you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may have a seat.
Sir, are you planning on speaking today? No. Good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, we'll do. All right, if we get a motion for number 2 on the agenda, BZA 25-22.
I make a motion, we remove BZA 25-22 from the July 10th, 2025 agenda.
Great, thank you, Mr. Thomas. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to the first item on the agenda. We've got BZA 25-15. We have an application by Robert Guyton for a variance to allow 9 floors over 2 floors of structure parking for a hotel at a maximum height of 116 feet at 1424 South Ocean Boulevard, Zone Resort Residential in the R4 District. Mr. Guyton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for letting me come appear before you again. I think you'll recall there were originally 4 variances. We resolved 3 of those. The last one is dealing with the height variance. So what I thought I'd do is run through all the factors and how we got here. Describe the ordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. This particular piece of property is an oceanfront parcel, currently improved with a building that has exceeded its useful life. As an oceanfront parcel, the boundaries of the property are constrained by 2 separate factors. The depth of the property is constrained by an existing road right-of-way on the street side and also by the OCRM critical line on the oceanfront side. This leaves approximately 135 feet of depth available for traffic flow in and out of the lower floors of the building where the parking deck is located, and the maximum slope for any parking deck is 6%, which is probably aggressive anyway. Given the fact that the majority of visitors continue to travel by vehicle and a clear height of at least 9'9" is required to accommodate vans, trucks, and SUVs, and to provide for ease of exit from Ocean Boulevard to the parking deck, the developer has proposed a first-level clear height of 12 feet, which would further avoid traffic congestion on Ocean Boulevard. Second one, as the previously described conditions unique to the property for which the variance is sought, or do these same conditions apply to other properties in the vicinity? As you know, the OCRM critical line, which creates the depth constraint for the property, is unique to this property, as each individual property is assigned a separate line. And in some cases, the critical line varies significantly from property to property, even properties sharing a common boundary. 3, describe why the zoning regulation proposed for variance would prohibit or unreasonably restrict utilization of the property because of the previously described conditions. Because of the required slope for entry into the lower level parking floors for the proposed building, without the proposed variance, the clear height of the floors would be restricted as to height, which would create 2 separate public safety hazards. The first would result in guest vehicles entering the building at a much lower speed to avoid conflicts with an 8-foot clear height, which would cause delayed queuing along Ocean Boulevard and restrict the flow of traffic. Second public safety hazard would be guest vehicles that were vans, SUVs, or passenger vehicles with luggage racks would not be able to enter the building and would require attendants to back the vehicles out of the building, unload the luggage, and then park the vehicles across Ocean Boulevard into overflow parking, further delaying the flow of traffic and restricting vehicles on Ocean Boulevard. Number 4, describe how authorization of the variance will be in harmony with the intent of the zoning ordinance and will not be injurious to the adjacent properties, the neighborhood, or the general public. By nature, oceanfront accommodations are the most sought-after vacation housing and second home occupancy in any beach community. Because the visits are typically 5 to 7 days in duration, guest arrival days are typically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which are also the busiest days with transient traffic as well as local visitors to the oceanfront. By allowing the variance and the corresponding increased clear height in the parking floors as well as the meeting space floor, traffic flow would remain efficient and congestion along Ocean Boulevard would be minimized, which is one of the primary public benefits of the zoning ordinance. Since the proposed variance is a dimensional variance and not a use variance, and the variance is less than 0.5% of the proposed height, neither the neighborhood, the general public, or even an expert using the naked eye would be able to determine the difference. The neighborhood and the general public actually benefit from the safer and more efficient vehicular patterns that would be allowed by the variance, and the pedestrian safety, vehicular safety, and emergency vehicle response times would all be enhanced by granting the proposed variance. Number 5, describe how the variance sought is the minimum variance necessary for reasonable development of site. Variance requested represents an increase of less than 0.5% in the allowed height of the building. Without the variance, the vehicular traffic patterns are severely compromised and the pedestrian safety along Ocean Boulevard is also compromised. In addition to traffic patterns, the additional height between the parking floors and the guest room floors creates a further separation between vehicle storage, which by necessity includes combustible materials, and the higher floors housing guests. 6, describe why the granting of the requested variance will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the zoning regulations to other landowners in the same district. The proposed variance is a dimensional variance, not a use variance, occupancy variance, or density variance. No additional guest rooms would be available as a result of the variance. No additional public services would be required, and the variance would simply allow for a safer, more attractive, and more welcoming property than would be allowed without the approved variance.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Any questions for the applicant? Hear from the city? We'll be. Mr. Caldwell?
By Robert Guyton for a variance to allow 9 floors over 2 floors of structured parking for a hotel at a maximum height of 116 feet at 1424 South Ocean Boulevard, Zone Resort Residential R4 District. The variance request pertains to maximum building height. Section 2322 allows for a 90-foot maximum building height, but there is an allowance to exceed the 90-foot maximum. The ordinance states that hotel uses may exceed 90-foot height limitation by 1 floor of units for each full level of above-grade parking deck construction below the principal building, not to exceed 4 additional floors of units. The proposed building has 2 floors of above-grade parking deck. The ordinance then allows 2 additional floors of units above the 90-foot maximum height. The applicant shows approximately 2.5 floors of units above the 90-foot maximum height. Staff recommends that the board review the variance application, hear the evidence presented at the meeting, and review section 2322.
Great, thank you, Ms. Caldwell.
Welcome.
Any questions for the city?
Yeah, somebody needs to catch me up. I apologize. I wasn't here to hear this in the past. So you're saying the ordinance allows for 2 additional floors?
Yes.
And how many additional floors does he want?
About 2.5.
Okay. So he wants a 26-foot variance? Is that what you said?
No, because you're allowed the 2 floors above. So he has 2, you have 2 and half of a third. So it'd just be that half of a floor that he's above the height, maximum height limitation.
What's the half a floor equal?
He says 6 foot. 6 foot.
6 foot. Okay, thank you.
Any other?
Also, to catch you up, this was a 4-part variance, and they've been granted variances for the green space requirement, compact parking space allowance, and a reduction of perimeter landscaping, but if, you may not recall, were you at the first one where we discussed? Okay. There was a certain percentage of perimeter green space that they were going to eliminate. And it was quite a bit. It was going down to 1 foot maybe. Initially it was to 0. And the applicant pivoted to ask for a variance to allow more compact parking, being that all the parking is going to be done by valets. So they'll know where to park small cars, and they will park small cars in those areas. So they were able to increase the size of the perimeter green space. It was still a variance because it was only 4 foot instead of 5. But there were 3 other ones passed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Guyton. How much additional land are you not able to develop because of the OCRM line?
If you look on the map itself, it's more than 25 feet going towards the ocean because of the OCRM line.
Okay, so you're losing about 25 feet?
Yep.
Okay. I know last time, we just don't have the image of it this meeting, that's all.
That's
The
right.
Plot plan, I just want to verify.
Any questions? Any other questions? Is anybody prepared to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. I move that the board grant variance 25-15 because the applicant has demonstrated unnecessary hardship. Specifically, there are extraordinary exceptional conditions pertaining to this particular piece of property, given the fact that they do have an OCRM line that restricts 25 feet of a good portion of their property back toward the ocean side. These conditions, they do apply to other properties based on the OCRM setback lines. Some of them don't restrict as much as this does. Because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance of a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict utilization of the property. The authorization of the variance would be not a substantial detriment to adjacent properties or to the public good, and the character of this district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance.
No? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-1. Great. All right, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. We've got item number 3, BZA 25-24. We have an application by Philip Hornbeck for a variance to remove a protected trees at the proposed Bahama Island development off Bowline Drive, directly south of the NMB RV Resort and Dry Dock. Mr. Hornbeck? You can introduce yourself for the record.
All right. So Bahama Island Single Family is a recent PUD residential use of this property. What you see on the exhibit that has been provided for the tree mitigation is the land plan that was approved during that PUD process. So we're locked into this site plan. So what we're asking for, what the developer's asking for, is the removal of 1,266 inches of trees that are above 24 inches, and a mitigation of half of that value per how the code reads. So we are proposing 633 inches of replacement plantings on this development, and the exhibit does depict all the plantings that are proposed as mitigation, along with the street trees, which are not part of that calculation, and these trees that are going to be retained and saved that are above 24 inches in DBH.
Any questions for the applicant? Not at the moment. I think we've got to probably go through these by the tree. We're going to hear from the city, and we'll be back to you. Great, thank you.
Philip Hornbeck has submitted an application to remove trees in excess of 24 caliper inches at the proposed Bahama Island residential development located at the terminus of Bowline Boulevard, abutting the NMB Dry Dock and RV Resort. The request is proposal for removal of 1,266 inches of protected trees exceeding 24 inches on the 73.42 acre parcel. The applicant proposes to replant 633 inches of replacement trees and save 662 inches of existing trees. A larger set of plans will be available for review at the meeting. Trees exceeding 24 caliper inches shall only be removed upon approval by the board. The board is charged with setting a suitable tree replacement schedule. The council has also approved a tree bank where individuals can pay $300 per caliper inch of required planting. Staff recommends that the board review the variance application, hear the evidence presented at the meeting, and review section 2368.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell.
Welcome.
Any questions for for Mr. Caldwell of the city?
Mr. Caldwell, can you clarify for me, did this go through the planning commission? Is this, he says we're locked into this.
Have you gone
this
through planning
plan.
commission and council for the PDD amendment? Yes,
He
it
said
has.
we were locked into this plan, is that true? He said something about this, we are locked into this zoning plan, or?
A drawing
said.
was reviewed by both planning commission and council and ultimately approved.
Okay, so does that mean we're locked into this? We can't, he is entitled to these lots, we can't take any lots away or not?
Title for lots?
I mean, does he have,
I mean, there's protected trees in some
for
of the
instance, can I
lots.
say, leave this lot and leave this tree and just do with one less lot?
Is there a bonded final plat?
Thank you.
Any questions for and by the way, I like your presentation here. You know, it actually lets us know what's being cut, what you're adding, gets rid of the stuff that, you know, some of the trees that are not even part of the discussion. But also like the fact of how you've showing the pictures of these trees. It allows us to see, I mean, none of these trees look, you know, so now coming back and strategically putting trees makes a lot of sense to me. So, thank you. Any questions for the city? Any questions for the applicant?
I'd like to know what the hardship is for taking out the trees. I mean, we have a preliminary plan, but we need to know what the hardship is.
So what's unique to this property, first of all, about 50% of the trees that are 24 inches and greater, as depicted in the arborist report, are either considered probable or imminent failure, whether they're in decline or already dead. The existing property, the topography on it ranges greatly from a 35 all the way down to a 0, and it undulates. It's a constant hill up and down with a lot of steep slopes. So in order to properly develop, a lot of earthwork is going to need to be done to level this out in order to facilitate proper slopes on the roadways and pad grading and swales and drainage and whatnot. So the earthwork portion alone is a difficulty on site, which is going to require either cutting or filling around all these trees. And once you cut too far or fill too much around these trees, they will eventually die.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Hornbeck or the city?
Well, if the city, if an arborist has determined that they're gonna die, we don't need a variance, right?
Only if they're currently dead or.
If we
died.
received a letter from a certified arborist that recommended removal because of the condition of the tree, recommended removal, then we could issue a permit to remove that tree. And they would not need to go to the BZA.
What if it's only if they were dead or diseased?
Dead or dying in imminent death?
You know, you look at this, and if there was a tree here, you know, going through this, if there was a tree here that wasn't rated poor or fair, and you look at them, they're all kind of scraggly, all the trees.
They were also taken in January. The pictures were also taken in January.
Yeah,
It's
there's
good,
no
good
reason.
They're
point.
dormant. I mean, that's,
Yeah, but I mean, they're
they
also,
all look raggedy.
but you got an
and
arborist
They
that's
don't
got,
have leaves and all that other stuff.
got the arborist with the fair and the
I
poor
understand,
ranking.
Yeah.
I'm looking at number 3. The pictures look good, and I mean, I don't see any holes in the roots or the trunk from the pictures they have there, and its location appears to be a non-lot, close to an intersection. Appears to be not on an actual lot that they intend to sell. So I would question tree 3. I don't know why that one has to go.
And just for also clarification on your map here, or your plan, is your turquoise, are those wetlands? Is that what that is? Is that
Yes.
wetlands, and then your blue is your retention water storage?
Yes, so the tealish turquoise, those are the wetlands. The white lines around those are the wetland buffers.
Yep.
The green strip down the middle is a power right-of-way easement, so we will not be removing or adding anything to that. And then there's a perimeter buffers on the sides. That's what's on the east and the west, and then the waterway, of course, the frontage. To answer your question about tree number 3, arborist rated it a C, and on their risk categorization scale, that places it in probable failure.
Let's do this. Let's go through if there's trees that we want to look at individually. Let's go ahead and get it done. Pick out the trees.
Yeah, of the trees presented for removal, I believe it's 50% of them are listed as probable or imminent failure.
What's the name of the arborist?
Sean Holster,
Spell his last name?
Top of the- it's on
Hoelsker.
top of the page.
Okay.
Oh,
okay, thank you.
It should be on the face of his letter.
I see it right there. Okay. Hand was on top of it. Thank you.
So with your elevation issues that you're having on this property, you're going from 30 feet to 0 feet. How much dirt are you moving from one side to the other side?
It's from the east side to the west. There's going to be about a 10-foot plus or minus cut, and then it's going to be added to the west side. West side's actually has quite a bit of a flood zone within it, so it has to be brought up. So that's another reason majority of the trees on the west side that we can't save primarily are due to the grade changes. Most of them just happen to also be failing as well. So as I alluded to earlier with the earthwork difficulties on the site in order to bring it to the proper grades to facilitate roadways and pads and swales to drain it. Majority of that portion of the west side will be filled.
Tormek, number one, looks like a fairly large oak tree. Why does it have to be removed? Is it one that's not in good health, or?
The west side of the property, not depicted very well in the exhibit, but there's a large open channel there that conveys a regional basin along that property line. The waterway actually backs up into it quite frequently. The condition of that channel may or may not be visible from the photos is a very poor health. It's almost a vertical slope on the bank. There's a lot of debris in it. When the development is constructed, we are to smooth out those slopes, armor that channel. There's going to be a easement set over the top of it, everything that Public Works has asked for in planning. So that's the primary reason the trees on the west side of that property line, even the one that appears to be healthy, will have to come out for that those ditch, that canal improvement.
I don't really see a whole lot, Mr. Chairman, that's not on a lot or.
Well, I see 9, I see 10 up front here in this corner. That's not a lot. I don't know what that is. Looks like a turnaround maybe.
40 back there, yeah. You got
Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Is that what 9 and 10 is?
Yeah, that is the amenity, proposed
Okay.
amenity center.
Looking at 3, 12, 7, 8/11/21.
So my question would be on that is, do we want to try to save trees that are not in good health, they're unfair to poor? Or would we rather plant trees that are going to be healthy after it's elevated and all that? So you come back and say, okay, figure out what we do want to save, but you got a good chance that they're probably not going to survive. So it's kind of defeating the purpose of having trees planted after the fact. After they cut them down, we won't have a tree.
Well, once they plant them and they're little, then they don't have any requirement to keep them. They can just cut them down again, the people whose property they're on.
Get the trees and we'll vote on them. Pick the trees and we'll vote one by one. Yes or nay?
That was the only one I saw.
Yeah, so the one right there? Yeah. Which one was that, Joe?
That was number one, but he's saying that, that's a, basically.
Yeah, but that but here's the issue that we have. With his proposed plan here, he's got to take it to a certain grade. So there's no tree that can be saved with the grade, period.
Right.
I mean, that's the issue you have, because he's got 30 feet on one side, 0 on the other. And so he's trying to level this lot, which is easier on the developer, saves them money, which I understand. But at some point, it starts to cause issues with the character of the community itself, because we're not protecting the character of the community.
I agree. And again, when you talk about this grade, and I know they want they want it level, but just been 2 weeks in southern Pennsylvania and northern West Virginia, and western Maryland, and there's all kinds of new developments everywhere, and they're all up and down, and they figured out how to build houses on grades. And I don't know why down here we can't figure out how to build a house where the front of it's level with the road and the back of it's got stilts behind it, and it slopes down to a drainage ditch or a ditch that drains the water off to the low level. So I constantly, when I go somewhere in the north, I'm just constantly amazed that they figured out a way to build everything on property that is not flattened out like a pancake. They don't go through the mountain up there or the hills and make it all flat and then build houses. So it's all a cost issue, and we're not supposed to be able to consider whether we save you money or not in your development.
No, it's worth mentioning during TRCs with staff that slopes on roads is a concern. Anything above a 5-6% linear slope usually raises an eyebrow and forces us to redesign around it. In reality, a 5% slope on a roadway is not very steep. In order to accommodate the tree saves and run the slopes on this property, again, there's portions where it goes from elevation 30 down to a 10 and then back up to a 20 immediately. It's like a ravine, which makes it very difficult to utilize the existing topography and also meet those slopes, linear slopes of the road that staff likes to see for safety purposes.
But you have the ability to cut the roads with the proper slopes and then build the houses based off of the topography, because you could do raised slabs, elevated homes, like Ms. Lover stated as well, right? So there's different things, different ways to approach it in that regard, correct? Because that's what you would do in the areas that she's talking about. I mean, and that's that is honestly what she said is the question I had. You go to places like Greenville, Columbia, they have elevation issues. They can develop, they figure it out, and they don't just level everything, because when we level everything, we lose every tree, and that's a problem.
Yes. Let's figure out the tree. Let's do this. Cynthia, why don't you give us the list that you have, and we'll take a look at the trees. We can do it by whether or not we want to save those trees.
Okay.
Give us those numbers you just rambled off.
I'm picking out trees that are not on a lot or on a lot line. And when I look at the pictures, I don't see a hole in the trunk, or a split. Some of these pictures show damage to the tree, so I'm
Let's
not
give us-
looking at those, so I'm looking at
Yeah.
3, which appears to be on a non-lot. 8, 9, 10, 9 and 10, he says are the amenity center, but I'm not sure why you can't leave big trees around the amenity center. I don't know exactly what the parameters are gonna be of that amenity center.
That's a topographic restriction there as well.
3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 7, 21, and 17. 9 trees out of the however many he wants to remove.
Give us those numbers again.
Shoot.
You got 3?
It's 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17,
21.
21.
Okay, let's go through
That's
these
where I
and we'll
stopped.
see how we all feel about each individual tree, whether we rather save the tree and wait for it to die or plant a new tree that could prosper. So, let's take a look at number 3.
Think about what, wait for it to die, or I say give it a chance to live.
So we've got a poor rating on, that's number 2. We have a fair rating on number 3. Thoughts? Let me see, it's right here, it's number 3. Let's see that. Any thoughts on number 3? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
There.
We've got, was it 9 trees?
I'm looking, it's a laurel oak. It's 34 inches. The trunk doesn't look to have any holes in it.
You're,
The canopy looks to have branches. Looks like this was maybe done in the springtime. There's green leaves on the branches.
Would be that one.
January
They're
28th.
not done like that.
Yeah, because it says it was a hickory on this.
What's that? Sorry?
Well, it just says that tree is a hickory and the papers here say it's a laurel oak.
I
Oh.
got you.
Yeah, they're not matching up to what's on the
Ah.
site plan.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the
And
pictures.
what's in here is not matching up to what's.
Okay,
I
So,
think-
looking at the,
okay, so mitigation ID number 6 is tree number 3, I think.
take a look at the map, the map of the neighborhood.
Yeah, the
Number
table
3
on the
matches up that
exhibit.
way. It matches up with the hickory,
Okay.
so we can. So let's kind of try to knock these out one at a time and see if we've got a majority, how we feel about them. What do you all think about this tree here?
So you
Let's-
talk about number 3?
Number 3, Ms. Lover does make a good point. It has a, looks like a healthy tree. Don't see much foliage up top. And it has a fair rating instead of a poor rating. So maybe this, if you want to save one, that would make a little more sense to me that it's fair.
It is labeled as a C grade, which the arborist has labeled as a probable failure.
We're looking at, so she's looking at the icon 3, it's mitigation ID number 6.
Yeah,
That would be, it's rated as a B, a grade B.
I'm sorry,
laurel oak.
I was still looking at 3.
Yeah.
You're right, correct.
Yeah, I'm sort of confused.
My bad.
I'm glad y'all
This is
pointed that out.
confusing.
I didn't realize I was looking at 2 different things.
Yeah,
I was
where'd you
trying to
get that
find a
rating?
lot, I was trying to find a tree on the plot that looked like it was not in the middle of a lot, and then check to see what kind of shape it was in.
Number
That's
6,
how I was
go to-
doing this.
and, mitigation ID number 6, I don't.
Where you at, buddy? Where we talking about? Okay, number 6, okay.
6 is on a building pad.
Okay, I guess the one I'm looking at is on this plot here in the corner, which is a non-lot, and it says got a 3 around it. Which over here says it's a hickory, but I don't know that we have a mitigation ID number on it. Here,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the one
It
that's,
has a fair rating. It's a hickory with a fair rating
Okay, so
for 6.
your,
No,
so your mitigation ID number is the number that's on the map, right?
yes.
Just make sure we're looking. at
Okay, gotcha. That
The
makes sense.
little, the green number and the T number, those had to do with the arborist report, data collecting.
Gotcha. So, numbers here, they were coming off the mitigation numbers? and then we can look at what tree it is. It's number 6.
Okay.
So, but you listed them as 3 being mitigation threat,
My
correct?
numbers are all messed up.
No, that's all right. No, that's all right. I'm good with going off that. Then we let's just look at 6. Now,
Is that not right?
yeah, we're at 6.
The
on the
one with the
map.
little green 6, mitigation ID number 3 looks like a healthy tree. And it is looks like it's on the back corner of I can't tell if that's back corner of a lot or maybe a alley. I don't know what that is.
That is on the right-of-way line. That is also right over the top of a drainage easement, which is the primary outfall of the stormwater system. So there will be a large outfall pipe dug between those 2 lots, which
If it's
would
an
require the
easement,
tree to go.
If it's an easement, it doesn't, we have nothing to do with an easement, right?
If it's in required utilities, and it sounds like that's probably what that would be.
So we can cross 3 off.
So 3, then we need to cross off. If it's an easement, then we need to cross that off.
Let's go to number 7 on the mitigation. That was Ms. Lover. It was number 7 next.
I don't have,
Which is,
I don't have 7 in here.
No, I got number,
It goes 6 to number 8, and this is number 7.
what was the number you had?
I guess 7, no, that's a 1.
Bless you.
7 is number 12 on the mitigation ID.
Mitigation ID, we're missing. No, that number 7 doesn't have anything, so the number that he's got listed, 7 would be mitigation number 7, ID number 7. Those little dots had to do with the arborist, he just clarified that. So 7 would be mitigation ID number 7, but number 7 is not listed in here.
Mitigation number 7 was omitted from the arborist report, so assumption is that it would be an A, that it would be a healthy tree, since I don't have evidence to prove otherwise.
Okay, so it's a healthy tree. Okay, good.
Okay, let's try this then, since I noticed we don't have pictures of all of them. So you're saying what numbers are the healthy trees? Maybe that would be an easier way. What numbers are not included in this that we don't have pictures of? So
We
they would
really-
have the best
I don't think
ratings.
we really want to worry, because we got 633 trees that they're not asking to remove, they're saving those trees.
I guess out of these that they're trying to cut, these are the ones that require
So
removal.
the next one that you have, Cynthia, number 8,
41.
mitigation ID number 8 is a hickory. It's a 26-inch hickory, and it's a grade C.
Yep. There we go. Mitigation, grade C. Is that going to be number 12 on the map?
Yes, well, no, it would be number 7 on the corner over here. It's on the corner over there.
So I have a question. On this map, there's 41 trees, but you're saying that some of these 41 trees that were up for removal are now, some of them aren't going to be included in this list.
Oh, no, they are. Whether they're healthy or they're in decline, we quantified them as mitigatable DBH inches. So we're not excluding any of them. As long as they're 24 inches or greater, we put them on this list.
Number 8 is 7.
So we're willing to mitigate, even the trees that are technically dead today, we're gonna
Yeah, A
plant
is-
those trees,
yeah,
plant
A-
in
A
place of.
is-
So if you go ID number 1 through 41, which ones are A's?
So if it's excluded from the mitigation list, the assumption would be an A. So that would be
So number 7, you said was
1,
a white oak 30-inch. Is that right?
7.
So number 7, sorry, number 7 is a white oak 30-inch that you said is a grade
Yes.
A.
White oak 30-inch excluded from the report, so an assumption is an A.
And then so the next one that you had, Cynthia, was number 8. It's on the corner at the,
Right?
that's in the road.
Yeah, that's the center of the eyebrow.
What is
In the
that?
road, okay. I thought the roads were the things with the little lines through them. I thought that was like a green space between the roads.
The
That little
road,
kern.
we don't have to approve
You
a
know-
tree in a road too, do we?
I think next time, let's leave the roads out and the easement stuff out. I mean, just leave it out because otherwise, we want to rip through this thing and save what we can.
Ben, we bet.
If the planning commission
Right here.
approved the location of the roads, then they were also giving allowance to remove those trees, even the ones over 24 inches.
Okay, good.
But this is, they gave the preliminary, this is the preliminary that the planning gave, right?
What's gone through planning commission approval and gone through council approval.
So cross off.
The plating exercise, it comes down the road later.
Okay,
Cross off mitigation number 8.
okay.
It's in the middle of the road. All right, let's go to number,
I'm gonna guess number 9 is the same.
9 and 10 are in the footprint of the amenity center, right?
Yeah, let's talk about number 9 and 10, but we don't have 9. So what are you doing with that, Mr. Hornbeck?
We would assume that 9 is a healthy tree.
Healthy tree and leave it?
Yeah, and then 10 is a C, which is in decline.
Okay, so let's look at number
Probable.
10 then.
Can I just ask that everybody, if everybody's on the same page, and if you're looking at the mitigation ID number or the green number?
Mitigation ID number. And then we'll
Mitigation
narrow-
map.
Then we'll go to the mitigation
Yeah.
ID number, go to tree number 1, and we'll see.
Because
a way
like in
to-
here, mitigation ID number 9 doesn't exist because it's an A, right? So, yeah. But he says mitigation number 10 is a C, which is a tree next to it. That's a fair rating. It's a 26 inch.
But both of those are in the footprint of the amenity center, right? 9 and 10?
Yeah, but you don't have
It's
to.
down by
approve
the
it.
waterway.
Yeah, it's down by the waterway. But you approve it, they can't build it.
Yeah,
They can't. They don't, they can't.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things, yeah. I get it.
It's in the footprint of a building that's been approved.
Yeah, it's been approved by the, has not been
Well,
approved
not
by
been
planning?
approved.
Roads and right of ways.
Just roads and
Just roads and
ways.
right of ways.
All right, but let's do this. Let's skip.
Lot lines.
Utilities.
And utility, any lot line, this is their wish. This has not been approved by,
Well, let's save this. Let's save 10. We'll come back to that one.
okay.
Let's go to 11, 12, 17, 21. Number 11. Mitigation number 11.
That looks like
Oop,
that's in a right of way.
Is that another?
Another one.
Is that in a right of way? Number
That
11?
is in the bank of a proposed pond.
That's not a right of way then.
No.
That tree's okay. It's just in them.
We'll circle that one. We'll go to number 12. Right now, we have 2 trees that are really to be discussed. How about mitigation number 12?
Lot line.
The common area space between those two lots, that 12 is on the cusp of, is a drainage easement that's conveying water to the pond. That will be a proposed easement.
That's why you moved the two lots, so it's not going through somebody's property? Okay. 17? How about 17?
A road.
Seventeen is in a public right of way.
Road there.
That's a road.
Yep.
Well, so if that's a road with a little line, okay, like where that little red thing is, what the road is. If that's the road, then how come number 8 is also a road? Because that's in a white area. It's not on the thing with the little lines. That's why I'm trying to figure out this map.
So that's like a cul-de-sac. So it's in between the two, it's in between your, it's like a.
If it's
almost-
between the roads and it's in a cul-de-sac, why can't you leave it there?
Well, it's actually still in the middle. That's still being your main part of the road right there.
Middle
Yeah,
of
it's
the
in the
road.
middle of it.
So the white area between the lines with the parallel lines,
Yeah,
that is the road.
That's the road. That's correct. Yep.
All the
Yep.
trees planted.
If it helps, the street tree plantings are depicted on both sides of the road.
Yep.
So that kind of gives you an idea of the alignment.
Okay, we got number 17 is in the road. Is that correct?
17 is in the road too, yes.
Okay. How about number 21?
21's in the pond,
Okay, there's 21.
right? Is that the one, Cynthia, you were talking about?
I don't know anymore. Because
20
w-
'cause
when we
21 's
switched
right
from
in the middle
number,
of
we
the
switched
pond.
the numbers of the pictures.
Is number
over here.
21 in the pond?
Yeah. That blue space is pond between the two
I've been
elements.
looking at another one.
I was looking at the ones on,
So is that improved?
whatever number 21 was on here.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. When I made that list, I was going strictly from these pictures. So I was looking at this tree, which is really number 24.
okay.
So is
That's
that-
why when I made everything
Look at
switched.
24 now.
Yeah, we'll add 24 to it.
That is,
So have they approved the
looks
water
like on,
retention too?
I'm
looks
sorry.
like on
Have
a
they,
lot.
the planning approved?
The
approved
overall
wa-
layout has generally been approved, but if there's protected trees somewhere and the board doesn't grant a variance, obviously it can't happen that way.
Yeah.
You have the authority to grant or not grant variances.
Okay.
Okay, even if it's a planned roadway or anything? Okay,
You could look at it one of two ways. You could also look at it as putting the cart before the horse. They went and got through their approvals and then came back for approvals underneath that, if you will.
Okay, let's look at number 24 and 21.
21's in the pond, 24 is on the lot line.
21's in the pond. Okay, let's look at where that's in the pond, if they could. It's right in the middle of the pond.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to revise, just scratch that list, because I was using that list based on these tree numbers, not the mitigation ID numbers. When I was looking at these pictures, I didn't realize this number here is not the same as this
All right, so
number
go
up
back
here.
go back to
So
your numbers on the thing.
scratch my list. What if we just go through the 41 of them that are here? That he wants to cut down on the, and then match them up on the map. You just go through them numerically and look at where they are.
Let's do that right here. Mr. Hornbeck, you got the map in front of you?
If you went, if you went by the numbers on this map, then that's the numbers. You're just not looking at the exact tree.
When
But
I
those are,
when I
the
came up,
numbers you called out should be the numbers of the trees you had in question, if you went by.
they weren't. I was using that number.
Okay.
That's why nothing matches, because I was just looking at this little green dot, which is a different number. That, like 23 is different than 26.
Okay.
And 19 is different than 27. So that's why when I came up with that, I didn't see the mitigation ID number. I just saw the number here on this map.
Let's do this. Let's go through the trees. I don't care if we start with one and work our way through.
All right, let's
And
do
then we can
that.
see if there's anything we can salvage that's worth salvaging, and then we go from there. Number one, Mr. Hornbeck. What is that in right now? It's in the green over there, the green space.
Number one is within that existing regional canal that is full of debris, and the banks are failing, that we are going to improve, widen, armor the slopes. So number one, number 19, number 40, those, all three of those are in the alignment of that proposed regional channel.
Okay. That's where, was it some of the stormwater is going to run off there?
Yes, yeah,
Then 1, 19, and 40
yes.
are in the canal.
Those are all A trees, right?
Uh,
They're in the packet, so they gotta be all good trees.
40 is a D.
40 is, 40's a D, that's fine.
One,
One is not in here.
one's not in here, so assumed as an A. And 19 is also assumed as an A, but within the alignment of the ditch.
While we're up this way right here, so we've got the ditch in here, we've got 1, 19, and 40. Where, 40's in that ditch as well?
Yes.
Okay, how about number 2? That appears to be in the middle of the lot.
That is within a building pad, yes.
Okay, let's go to number 3. Why can't we save that? I mean, I looked at the quality of the tree, but that appears to be in a decent spot.
That is on the right-of-way line and also in the middle of the primary outfall for the stormwater system.
Number 3, kind of working our way down here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
Yep.
Number 4?
4, 5, and 6 within a
5,
building
6, right
pad.
in the right middle of the lot,
Yep.
okay? Number 7?
And that one's gonna be an A.
So the only restriction there would be topographic cut fill grading of the property, because the tree is not in the report, so an assumed A, and it is in a side yard. So the filling of material over the tree would be
This one,
To the
you're
detriment.
higher over here, you said, right?
yes, we're
So
filling.
it's actually, instead of filling, we would be,
No, that's the low side.
this is the low side? the
Yeah,
east-
yeah, this side's,
East side, okay, gotcha. That one there is outside the footprint, if there's a way that, if it's worthy, you said it's an A, right?
Just the lot line or leave it.
Let's leave number 7 on here and we'll talk about it. How about number 8's in the middle of the road? Cross that off. Number 9 and 10,
Mine is a good tree, it's not in the packet.
Both in the footprint
In
of
the
the
footprint of the-
proposed amenity
so
center.
we'll come back and talk about 9 and 10, but. Okay, how about 11?
Bank of the
11 is
pond.
a good tree. It's a A, it's not in the packet.
Yep. Mr. Hornbeck, you got a chance of saving that tree?
that is in the bank of the pond. So even if we were to slope the ground downward or do a tree well of some sort, it would end up filling with water from the stormwater system. That is based off of elevations of the outfall ditch and the adjacent wetlands. So that water level is is set in order for the stormwater to function properly.
So is there already a wetland, a wet area there? Is that why that pond is there?
Yeah, the teal areas on the map are the existing wetlands. So the lowest point within that side of the property is roughly where that pond is. So that's why we placed it there. We were trying to do our best to do a balance of the site.
That's why, I mean, some trees thrive in the wetness. Some trees, and that's probably, if that's in a wet area, that's probably why it's an A tree. All trees don't thrive in wetness, like gum trees or swamp trees, they grow in the swamp. Cypresses grow in the swamp. And so they will thrive in the wetland if they're left close to the water or in the water.
This a willow oak?
I
Yes.
don't know what kind of topography a willow oak needs. I'm just saying, you can't just say, well, all trees are going to die if their roots are
Or-
wet, because that's not true.
Yeah, willow oak. Yep.
Come back to 11.
That's an A
Well-
tree.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, yes, it is.
Number 12 is in that drainage easement. Let's
Yes.
go to 13. 13's on the backside of that footprint,
Yeah, on that building pad. Yes.
the building pad. Everybody, any thoughts?
Trying to find it.
13, bottom left. To the right of.
Okay, thank you.
9's, yeah. 14's in the footprint.
Yes.
Right? 13's where? I see it, but what is that?
It's on the,
Is that a
it's
lot?
on the footprint. It's on the edge of the footprint.
So
Just let's leave it there. We'll come back. We'll come back to it.
people can have
So we
a
got
tree in their
13.
backyard.
So we got 11 and 13. Let's go to 14. Where are we at? 14 and 15. Here's 15. 14's in the lot. 15's in that easement as well. Is that another drainage easement?
15 is in the right of way,
Right away. So what does that mean?
the public right of way. So it's
That's
falling
drainage
on
or-
the sidewalk.
That's a drainage or that's a sidewalk right away?
Where 15's located?
Yeah.
Yes, that is within the public right of way. It would be landing on the sidewalk / curb of the road.
Take 15 off there. How about everybody chime in? I'm just trying to get through this list. We can talk about the ones we want to try to save. 16?
Same thing. so
Same
right
thing.
away. 17, same, it's on the right away.
Up on the other side of, right up power line right away, up on the other side.
17's right in
Like
the
you
middle.
look at 16's in the sidewalk, go back to that. So to the right of it, I mean, does that right of way have to go there? I'm just looking to the right of, to the left is the road, you're telling me, that's a cul-de-sac, but to the right is nothing.
That is a driveway to lot number 116.
Okay,
There's a
okay,
building pad
all
back
right.
there.
Okay, 17's in the cul-de-sac.
18's on the pad.
Oh, yep.
But again,
18's
17's on the sidewalk, right?
It's in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
It's
Yeah,
in
it's on the
it's in the sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
It's in the sidewalk.
Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I see that.
The number is, yeah.
The,
So all trees, just so y'all know, all trees 17 through 22 are good trees.
okay,
All of them are A's.
let's take a look at these then. So we got 17, that's right there. 18 in the middle of the lot. 20's not in the middle of the lot.
42-inch tree.
Let's save that one. If it's an A, let's try to save that one. All right, let's go to, please chime in, everybody. I'm just trying to move this. 21, it's in the middle of the drainage. That's a challenge. 37, what is the issue with 37? It's not in the,
It's on the bank of the pond. The stormwater system utilizes the pond and the wetlands for storage between the two volumes. So the bank outside of the wetland buffer needs to be shaped in order to accommodate the pond to be able to stage and then spill into the wetlands and vice versa. So there's a lot of very particular earthwork there to make that stormwater system function properly as it stages up and down.
so that is in the middle of the work area?
Yeah, that would be an earthwork area that would require the tree to be removed for the pond to function properly in that location.
What's the purpose of that weird shape to that pond? You got a little finger thing coming out here.
There
You
are-
got all kinds of little ins and outs. What if,
Yep. The teal areas are existing wetlands that we have platted buffers on to protect, so we can't encroach upon those. And then the large green strip through the middle is a Santa Cooper transmission right-of-way, which we also cannot encroach upon. So we're left with this pocket of land between the wetlands and the easement, and we're utilizing that for pond.
so it looks to me like 37 is then on the wetlands.
That is, the line that it falls on is the top of bank of the pond. And that pond has to be graded very specifically so that it could interface with the wetland in order to share the stormwater volume between the two.
There's no other areas, you've got to work that particular area to get the elevation right? You can't work at a little,
For 37, the gum tree.
yeah.
So
It's a wetland tree. That's why it's growing there. It grows in wet areas.
Let's put 37 on there, we'll come back to it. Let's go to
if you
21.
guys want 37, we can do what we can to save that gum tree.
Yep, the 21 is in the middle, so let's work our way around to 22, 23, up towards the top. While on 22, which I haven't looked at the quality of the tree,
Mhm.
but it looks like it's back pretty far on that footprint.
22. It is on the edge of a building pad. But if we had to narrow down potentials, that would be one we could work with you guys.
All right, so let's leave 22 on the list. We'll take a look at the quality of the trees as well when we get done this. At least we're trying to figure out what we can save. 23, looks like it's in the middle of the road.
Mhm.
Cross that one off. 24. Add
Edge of a building pad.
yeah,
25 and 26.
24, 25, and 26.
Mm.
Those are all A trees.
25, no, that's a D. 25.
So, I mean, 24 and 25 are on the back of the lot, close to a wetland.
All right, let's leave them. We'll talk about 24, 25.
25. But I mean, you could try to save it, but it's a D.
What's up, 20, which one's a B?
25.
Okay. Let's go to 26. What's the rating on that?
It's in the pad.
It's in the pad. We'll get rid of
It's a-
26.
It's a D too.
That's a D, good. Then we're feeling a little better here. 27,
It's a C. It's in the middle of the
in the
road.
middle of the road, get rid of 27. 28,
That is a D.
the pad, and that's in the middle, that's on the, not close to the edge. That'll be fine. 28, 29,
It's A.
29's an A.
Now
Got a
let's-
little parking area. What's this, Mr. Hornbeck?
Mail kiosk parking.
Okay, let's see if we can save 29 as well. I mean, we'll talk about these and then you can give it some thought here. 30,
30 is a C.
and it's in the middle of the pad. It's not on the fringe or anything. 31's on the fringe.
It's a D.
At the day. See number 31, Mr. Hornbeck?
Yeah, 31 is a D on the edge of the sewer easement.
So
Saying D or B?
A D.
D. Let's just go ahead and it's on the pad.
Yeah.
Maybe we can come back where some of these other lots that you're going to rework for us a little bit so we can save some of the trees that are healthy trees. 31, 32.
It's a C. It's a red oak. It's on the back. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't want to try to save that.
32. Okay,
Is an A?
No, it's a C.
but it's,
It's the back. It's not in the pad or anything of that nature. It's
Yep.
back.
sounds good. Okay.
33's in a pad.
33 is in the pad.
Cross off
but it's a-
33.
But it's an A.
Any promise where where the tree, it's like if it was on the back, they could, shorten it up, but it's,
They don't have to have all their lots. You can take a couple of them and cut them in a green space.
Well-
No, we can come back to it, but it is an
Yeah.
A. I mean, we're talking about
Okay. 33. How about 34? 34.
34 is an A
Where's that at?
In the pond.
on the bank in the pond.
Oh, here
Are you
it is.
guys filtering into your wetlands for spillover? Are you
Yes.
guys using your ponds and filtering over and then doing
Yeah,
your
that-
overflow
that-
into the wetlands?
That's one of the reasons that pond in the centrally located, that's squeezed between the two wetlands. The ponds and the wetlands do function, they integrate with each other when it comes to stormwater storage. So it is imperative that they're up against them as tight as
No,
possible.
I get it. So you fill in your pond first and then spilling into your wetlands, filtering into your wetlands.
So the ponds are used for those smaller storm events for water quality. And
Yeah, I
then in
get
the
it.
big storm events, they can spill over to the wetlands and use that as a volume.
I got you.
Mr. Hornbeck, how about 34? We know that's on the fringe, and that is what kind of tree? That is a,
That's a beach, 34-inch beach.
yep, any thoughts?
What's the rating on that?
It's an A.
That is on the very side of a really steep slope. So to the right of that tree, that 34 is an elevation 29, and the bottom of that wetland is an elevation 12. So that gives you an idea of the slope.
How much? That's pretty big.
And then we got to put a pond
That-
there next
It'd be
to the
nice if we could see the topography of this, like
So you really
the
understand it.
original topography and then what it's proposed at. That would like help us out tremendously. Because even every tree we try to save, if he takes it to grade,
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you
it
do.
doesn't matter what you do, they're gone.
All right, we'll leave 34 on there, even though we'll come back to it, because we're going to narrow this list down. Where we at 34, 35's in the pond, 30, 36?
36 is an A.
I can make 36 work for you. I can make that work. Yeah.
Yep, so let's say 36. Or we'll talk about that. 30, where are we at here? Where's 37, 38, 39, 40, 41? 38.
41's right there on the waterway.
41's on the water.
Okay, here's 41. Where's 30? Oh, there's 39. There's 38. Okay, there's 30.
37. 36.
Right there where that
Oh, yeah,
pond.
37's on the pond. That's an A too.
Is that the one that was in the pond?
No, it's on the edge. It's an A.
We
said-
talked,
yeah,
he
we talked
he
about that.
agreed, we
Yeah.
talked about that.
Okay, we'll rate that one at 37. And then what?
Where's 38?
38 is in the middle to
To
the
the other
left.
side of the
on
Santee
the-
Cooper's easement there. Back on the left side.
Okay, it's on the
Yes,
left. That's an A, and that's a yellow poplar. It's a 32-inch yellow poplar.
Okay, 38, we'll talk about. And 39, where's 39? 39 right here. How about 39, Mr. Horbeck? What,
39 is a C, red oak. Let me locate it on the map, 39.
thoughts on 39?
Save it.
All right, we'll come back and talk about that one.
I don't even see it.
That 40 and 41, let's see where 40 and 41.
One's on the waterway.
40 is a D. It's a poor rating.
Okay, so let's cross off 40. How about 41?
41's an A. It's willow oak. It's 30-inch.
Well, let's start from the beginning. We'll work through these trees. 9 and 10, it's kind of hard. They're trying to do the amenity center. If it's going to be in the footprint, let's go look at everything else. If we can save some other stuff, 9 and 10 should be approved for the footprint. How about 11? Let's look at 11.
So I guess my question is, what do they have in here? I mean, you got the amenity center, but is that a playground off to the right side of that?
Yeah, so beneath 9 and 10, that is a pool and a pool deck. Directly to the north of that is their amenity building. To the right is a playground, a fenced-in playground, and then a pickleball court to the north of all that, next to the parking lot.
Or A's?
9's an A and 10's a C.
And again, they still have to come back to us to get a special exception approved for their amenities. Correct. All these
The
amenity centers,
plan-
they always come back, and
It's a planned development district.
so they don't have to
they
have.
do not.
Okay.
Let's do this and we'll come back to 9 and 10. Let's go, do we have 11 on here, right? 11?
The numbers I circled after what we talked about to either try and save or come back to were 7, 9, 10,
Yeah, but
11, 13, 17, 21, 24, 25, 29, 32, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 41.
got those. So
We got one,
where's 11? 11, let's take a look at 11, Mr. Hornbeck.
16 of them.
I mean, are you representing Environmental Concepts or are you representing the site work company?
I'm with Development Resource Group representing Pulte.
Okay.
Environmental Concepts did draw up the mitigation placement, the street trees, and the landscaping on Bowline, which is all depicted on this map.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, let's, number 11, Mr. Orbeck, is there a way that possibly you could save that, or?
Yeah, we can do our best to retain that tree. Since it's in a backyard, if it does eventually fall, it shouldn't hit anybody, which is a concern, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, we don't want to do that one. So, but let's see if you can, let's see if you can save that one. How about number 13?
13, that is on the backside of a building pad. Also, worth noting, the entire boundary of this development up against the intercoastal waterway, there is a bulkhead that is being installed in order to protect the bank. And when the earthwork is performed, it's going to be backfilled behind it. So these lots up against the waterway, in order to get out of the flood zone and get over to the top of that bulkhead, are coming up several feet. So the chances are that the grading around 13, 14 is going to be a good couple feet of fill material.
These houses elevated, or are they on stilts, or they just, grades in the dirt?
It hasn't been locked in yet, but still homes are on the table right now.
Okay.
We understand we're going to backfill on that. Ms. Lover, let's go through your list, and then each individual tree we'll talk about.
So we took, I'm counting 16 of them that we said we would try to save. So that means
Where's he at?
7, 9, 10, 11, 13, 17, 21, 4, 25, 9, 2, 36, 7, 38, 39, and 41.
Okay. All right, let's go.
That's 16 out of 41, so
Let's tackle number 7. How about number 7?
7's on the side of that lot.
And we've already talked about 7, 9, 10, and 11.
So, but 7 was one he was saying that we
Save.
could save. Let's save number 7.
Okay.
Okay. Number 13. These are all that we already talked about, but now we're going to figure out whether or not 13. This is where we're going to do the bulkhead.
Yes.
That's challenging.
Yes. So 13, 14, everything that's up against the waterway behind the bulkhead is.
That lot's, where that tree's located is not against the bulkhead, though. I mean, as your bulkhead's a good 25, 30 feet
Mhm.
from where you're backfilling. And you're still gonna slope, right? Because you're gonna get your drainage, you're gonna have drainage going back towards the waterway, right?
Yeah, so those lots in that configuration will, like piano keys, in order to drain each of them, they have to be graded in a specific fashion to collect the water between the center of the keys, if you will, where the tree is located. So right now, for the stormwater solution, there is a drainage line that runs down the middle of those piano key lots from east to west. So there will be pipes installed along that run in order to get water out of the center of those lots. And tree 13 is in the path of that. And then on top of that, you also have the earthwork, the fill material at those lots.
That's 13 and 14.
Oh, and I also had 20. I'm sorry. I can't read my chicken scratching. 20 also.
Okay, well, and then we got 17. Let's find 17.
The road easement, the right of way.
Yeah, that was a maple. That was an A grade.
Yep, 17.
Yeah, that's within the right of way.
But is that a right of way technically? It's not a right of way, that's a sidewalk. That's a sidewalk, that's not a right of way.
Yeah, the sidewalk is within the public right of way.
It's a public right of way, but I mean, you have the right, just because it's in the sidewalk, how many towns, I mean, we've gone to towns and seen sidewalks built around trees, correct?
That's what I was going to say.
So it's a savable tree, right? Just because it's in the sidewalk doesn't mean that it can't be saved.
Actually makes it more attractive when you're walking down the sidewalk and it goes around a tree.
I will say by disturbing the land around it in order to build that eyebrow, that cul-de-sac, and installing all the infrastructure around it, the chances are the tree won't survive after the root mass has been cut. I mean, it's a good half to 2/3 of the root mass that'll be disturbed in order to build that road.
Construction, put a barrier around it and make your sidewalk go around it. Save the tree. They have a construction zone requirement in our code, in our tree ordinance.
I mean, yeah, and please understand, we're not trying to be difficult. It's just, the thing is that we're literally clear cutting properties in our community. And it's just, we're trying to figure out how to save the character of the property.
Let's
Yeah,
do this.
which-
Let's do this. We got,
The 36-inch maple
we've got
with
this.
an A rating.
We got,
Why can't you save it?
let's do this. Let's go, we got number 711. Mr. Hornbeck has tried to work with a 711, number 13, 14, and 17. We'll come back to. But let's go to, and that was 17 we're talking about. Let's go to number 20.
Yeah.
And so we can figure out what we're crossing off, then we can figure out what we're talking about, what we're saving. How about number 20?
20's there behind
Sure.
that.
Yeah, 20, we can do the best to save that one. That's in a prime location for a candidate.
Perfect, thank you. Number 21. And Mr. Hornbeck, see, you're saving 20. If you got one that says, hey, I know we're not going to be able to save this one, if we can, great. If we can't, I mean, it's because it's not around the house that we're worried about it falling, but
It'll be difficult, but
that one's be difficult.
we will go through the effort to save that tree for 20. Yeah.
21's in the pond. We should
21's
add
in the
that
pond.
to it.
It's right on the edge, yeah.
No, it's in the pond.
It's in-
It's in the
In the
pond.
middle of the pond.
In the middle of the pond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But didn't you say that was a gum tree and they like to be in the water? So, didn't you say
Gum
that?
trees like to be in the water.
Let's do this, see what you can save that one.
I mean,
So, all right, let's go to 24. 24. 24 is on the backside. You felt like you could do something there. Is that correct?
Uh,
The backside of the lot?
24 is on the building pad, so it would encroach upon the structural pad of the building. So we would recommend not
Not on.
saving that one.
Can you move the pad forward? That number 24 is a
24 and 25.
28-inch red oak with
It's
an A rating.
It's a proposed pad. If you don't give them the variance, they can't put a house there.
24 is a C rating.
But
24 is the C rating. How about 25?
But you told me 24 was an A rating.
And one of them's an A.
One of those is an A.
I think you got 3 on that pad too, 24, 25, and 26.
What is 25, Mr. Hornbeck?
No.
24 is a C rating.
24 is
25 is a D.
25 is a D.
All right, let's see if you can save 24.
the C.
Yep, the C rated. And then let's go to,
Mr. Chairman, can we get going back to that 21? I mean, that's in the middle of a lake. I mean, somebody's got to dig that out, right? You
Oh,
think?
that is in the middle of the lake. I thought it was on the side there. I'm messing up the circle with the red.
yeah, I did the same thing.
No, no, 21.
Yeah, no, 37 is the one that's on the edge, yeah.
The 37 is the one.
And we'll come back to 21 on here. So let's knock the rest,
21's done. We agreed to that.
agree to that, right? Okay.
Take 21 off.
One off.
29 was the next one.
Didn't you have 24? That's what
We
we're
just
talking
talked
about
about
here, 24, 25. Okay, so say, try to save 24. And 29?
Park, that little parking area, that yellow poplar.
Got it.
That's an A.
Let's try saving 29.
We can do our best to save that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you. 32,
Save that one.
Red 28-inch
yep,
red
let's
oak.
try to save 32.
Um,
How about number 30,
32 is a
Six.
C.
36?
Can we save that one?
That's an A.
Yeah, it's an A.
Where's 36? Oh, it doesn't matter.
They're above.
Yeah, 36 we can save.
Okay, great,
That one's a good candidate. We'll work around that.
awesome, thank you. 36, 37?
That one too, can't we?
That one's in the wetlands and it's a gum. I don't see why it can't get
Yeah.
a chance to survive.
Try to-
If it falls, all it's gonna do is fall in the lake or the pond or the wetlands. There's no houses around it. If it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it.
Good deal, let's look at 30, 38, 39, and 41. Anyone spot 38?
Right beside.
Had 15 and 11.
Oh, got it,
Yeah,
got it.
39, yeah.
It's in a footprint.
38 to 10. Mhm.
That's a small lot. That's a small lot there. So
Yeah, it's.
let's
pretty-
leave. I'd let you remove that one. Got a small lot. I don't know how it'll put anything on there. How about 39?
Due to the filling behind the bulkhead and protecting of the bank of the waterway, there's a lot of fill material there.
39 and 41.
Yeah.
41's not, because that's right on the bulkhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
41, I don't see 39.
Right above it.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So what
To me,
have we
that
got?
was
It sounds like we've got 7, 11, 20, 21, 24, 29, 32, 36, and 37. And then the question marks, we have 13, 17, and 14. Or 13, 14, 17.
No, not 21. 21's in the pond.
21's in
Think you-
final.
Oh, is that the one?
Yes, in the
So we're going to cross that one off.
Cross that one out.
Okay.
7, I have 7, 11, 20, 17,
Oh, yes.
4, 29, 32, 36, 37 were definites.
Yeah, right.
Does
Yep,
that
that's
sound
right.
right?
Yep, sure does.
Well, 24 and 25 were on,
On that backside.
and they were both,
Well, the 24 was a little better tree
24, we were saving.
because it was a C tree. So we got 7, 11, 20, I'm sorry, 7, 11, 17.
Can you start it over one more time?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna go, I was gonna make sure
Okay.
make sure it gets you the list
Yeah.
that everybody wants. 7, 11, 17, 20, 24, 29, 32, 36, 37. And we have question marks on 13 and 14, but that 14 is gonna be close. Even if it's 20 feet off, you're gonna have to,
It's in a house too, it looks like.
right.
Yeah, 14.
So I'm good with that list there. I feel like Mr. Hornbeck has got his hands, he's
We've
got
still
plenty to
got
work
9
on.
and 10 there at the amenity center.
And
And we-
that's just a struggle with the 9. It's, I mean, unless you can, you gotta come, they don't have to come back with us on the amenity center.
I just don't see why they can't rework it a little bit. Looks like there's a lot of green space there with the
You
parking.
guys can rework that pool a little bit
Yeah.
to save 9.
Did you say 9 would be, right?
Take down 10 and slide everything to the left, because these green trees are your remediation trees, right?
Yeah, the green trees depicted around the amenity center are proposed plantings that were to be the mitigated plantings that would replace the removed trees. And that pool area there, it's an elevation 6 with a flood zone 10. So they're raising that up to get that over the flood zone.
How much are you raising that up?
4 feet.
that's the same issue, the bulkhead.
Right.
On the other ones, you know, save those trees if you do that. Raise it 4 feet.
Right. I mean,
What was the issue with number 36?
not that 36 were, that's on the list.
36
Oh, it
we're
is on
gonna
the
save.
list, okay.
Yeah,
That's
36,
what I was trying
32,
to figure.
36, 37.
Okay.
Well, I think they've got their hands full in trying to save what they got. If 9 and 10, you know, I'd like to have if you could save 9, it would be, is there but you're talking about it's 4 feet. Raise
Yeah,
that.
it's 4 foot. It would be a very deep tree well if we were to save it.
Gotcha. We've saved 9 trees.
I'm trying to figure out the inches so we'll know how much they're mitigating, so we can figure out how much they have to replant. So what we've got them keeping out of that 1,266 protected is 240. So that's 1,020 be replaced.
How many inches were the ones we saved?
Came up with 240.
40? Nice. All right, is anybody prepared to make a Motion?
And we would be mitigating at half a replacement rate? Was that right?
Yeah, they're going to, yeah.
Okay.
So half the replacement then be,
You came up with 280?
Come on, 280.
280, I might have missed one.
Yeah, 280.
Okay, so 280,
Minus,
1266 minus 280 is 980. Divide that by 2 is 450, 480,
493.
490.
Because it's 986 divided by 2, 493.
493?
193 inches.
Be
yeah.
remediated.
Good deal.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Make a motion that we approve variance BZA -25-24 in part and deny it in part. And the part that would be approved, oh God, I just lost my numbers. Crap. Doing that. Ah. That out of the 41 trees that are protected that they wish to remove, that they be required to retain trees number 7, 11, 17, 20, 24, 29, 32, 36, 37, that they be required to protect them during construction and put sufficient protection zones around them during that time. And that they be allowed to remove the remaining trees that are not those numbers, and that they be required to replant 493 inches of trees in addition to the ones that were already required to mitigate in the street trees. And they replant 493 inches of trees on the property, and that they all be hardwoods of of the types that are being removed: laurel oaks, white oaks, maples, red oaks, post oaks, poplars, beech. So that the 493 inches have to be the same species as the ones that are being removed, and that they can be replanted throughout the development. And they have to be, what size trees do you like, Mendel? At least 2-inch trees, or what is it you said?
Normally, the smaller they are, the faster they grow.
Okay. And the trees must be a minimum size of 2 inches, the replacement trees.
Thank you, Ms. Lover. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Got a second from Mr. Bell. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Great. Patience. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thornberg. All right, can we get a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye. This is the longest meeting with the shortest agenda I've ever had.
When I walked in, I was hoping there was only going to be Shep over there. I'm thinking that the other guy was with Shep, and we're only going to have one thing.
Yeah.
Something.